Hello and welcome everybody to today's webinar. My name is David Leith. I'm the Technical Product Manager for Uptime Software. And today I'm very excited to be highlighting for you some of the new exciting changes in Uptime version 7.2. A few housekeeping issues before I carry on into the event. We're still seeing a number of people joining who will be joining on the audio broadcast shortly. There will be an opportunity for a Q&A at the end of today's session, so please feel free to use the Q&A panel on the right-hand side of your WebEx interface to ask questions, and we'll do our best to get to everyone's question near the end of the session, and if we don't, we'll make every effort to try to email directly afterwards. So without further delay, let's jump right into Uptime 7.2 and talk about the great new things that are coming in this release. As a little bit of a refresher, there are a number of users on the line today who perhaps aren't familiar with Uptime, so I wanted to give a quick overview of Uptime in general and then talk about the specific things coming in Uptime 7.2. So Uptime 7, as many of you are aware, is a server monitoring capacity management solution. We offer server performance monitoring, application performance monitoring for all of your middle-tier applications and IT services, network performance monitoring, IT service level agreement monitoring and management, and also a unified dashboarding package so that you can see everything in your IT environment available from a single view of your enterprise. Put another way, Uptime provides you a unified monitoring view that allows you to have a single unified IT dashboard. It allows you to monitor, alert, and report across all of your availability, performance, capacity, across all of your applications and IT services, all of your network devices, all of your servers, be them virtual, physical, or cloud servers. And we are highly sociable software, easy to interface and integrate with the other tools in your monitoring environment or in your IT environment via our public API. So what's coming in Uptime 7.2? I'm going to be focusing primarily on the first and second items here. So the first one is really talking about that complete view of IT health. So in Uptime 7.2, we've introduced the next stage of our customizable dashboard framework and really worked on the interactivity and dynamic aspects of our existing dashboards. Then I'll also be talking a little bit about how Uptime helps you to improve your IT service delivery. We've added a few reports in this release that really help you get started in improving your IT service delivery. They work very well with a number of the existing reports from previous Uptime versions. And of course, item number 3, with every version of Uptime, we try and strive to make it easier to deploy and use. So with this version of Uptime, you'll find that there's a number of usability enhancements and performance enhancements, and overall it'll mean a faster time to value so you can get up and running with Uptime and extract more from it more easily. So the first big new addition in Uptime 7.2 is this, as I talked about, this stage 2 of our customizable dashboards. As many of you are aware, in Uptime 7.0 and Uptime 7.1, we launched a fully featured Uptime API that would allow users to access inventory and availability information from within Uptime and utilize that in third-party software. There were a number of custom dashboard examples built off of this API. A lot of our users were able to extend this and provide a very customizable views of their IT service status across their entire environment. Well, what we've done with Uptime 7.2 is we've taken this feature from being sort of a power user feature, so fueled by the Uptime API, something that if you were code friendly you'd be able to interface with and build your own custom dashboards. We've taken it and really brought it into the streamlined Uptime user interface, making it something that every Uptime user can utilize in a nice drag and drop, point and click type of interface. So I'm going to hop over into Uptime in a moment and just talk about some of the examples of the dashboards and show you how it works. Specifically, I'll be talking about our world map or pin-on-image dashboard, talk a little bit about the new topology tree piece, which we're very excited about in this Uptime release, and then highlight the overall gadget library and some of the extensibility. So just give me a moment to to hop over to the Uptime application. I see a few questions about being able to see the presentation. Yes, you should be able to see a PowerPoint deck at this point. If you can't see it, you may find that there's a quick start and info and an alternate tab near the top of your WebEx interface. Just make sure you're looking at the What's New in Uptime tab. Regardless of that, I'll be hopping over into the Uptime application now, so just give me a moment to share my application. So what I've brought up in a fresh browser window is a new version of Uptime 7.2. So I'm starting off with the My Portal page, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. I'm going to quickly jump over to the Dashboards section. And you can see right away that there's a few nice visual enhancements to the global scan and a number of the other dashboards. I'm going to come back and talk about those a little bit later. What you may also notice is that there are many more available dashboards in this version of Uptime. So everything over to the All Elements and All Services dashboards are stock Uptime dashboards that are being available for a number of versions. And everything to the right of this are custom dashboard examples that I've crafted on my own. So for example, we have a aptly named custom example dashboard highlighting a few of the different gadgets that are available with Uptime 7.2. So this example dashboard is actually something that's configured out of the box for you. So there's no additional steps to set this up. All of these gadgets are built off of the Uptime API included out of the box. No back-end coding required. Literally any user who has a login to Uptime can easily access the custom dashboarding framework and really build their own customized views of IT, and just highlight the exact information about their Uptime installation that they really care about versus using some of the stock dashboards. So this dashboarding framework has everything that you're expecting from a modern day dashboarding framework. The entire configuration is all drag and drop. So if I wanted to simply swap the location of different gadgets, I could do that. If I want to delete a gadget, I could do that, and then also just add in a fresh gadget, selecting from one of our available gadgets. If I wanted to create a brand new dashboard, I would simply use the plus icon. And there's a quick wizard that's going to appear to take me through the process of adding this custom view into Uptime. So on the Add Dashboard prompt, I simply need to provide a name for my dashboard. And I see a lot of people named Jeff on the call today, so I'll say it's going to be Jeff's dashboard. I have the option from here to either make this a private dashboard, so just something that I can see logging into the interface, or I have the option of sharing this dashboard with other members of any teams that I belong to. So this is a great tool, so if you want to create a view for your production support team or for your database team or virtualizations team, any Uptime administrator can create a dashboard, share it out to other users, and it will be private just to that team of people. So it works very well for operations teams, again, to craft that custom view showing just the slice of Uptime information that you're most interested in and share it amongst the team. So I'm very simply going to give this dashboard a name. Then I'm going to select the types of layout that I want for the dashboard overall. So I will just, for fun, select something similar to what we had before. And I'm going to add this dashboard. And what I'm presented with is really a blank dashboard where I have predefined targets for where I can drop my custom gadgets. If I click on the option to add a gadget, what I'm brought to is a simple list of all the available gadgets that come out of the box with Uptime 7.2. Now, the great thing about this gadget framework that we've adopted in Uptime 7.2 is that it's completely extensible and flexible. All of these gadgets are intended to be based off of the Uptime API, but the gadgets themselves are actually totally modular, and users can access the source code for any of these gadgets, build your own gadget, and import that into Uptime, and it will appear to any other user as a standard stock gadget. And all of these examples are actually available right now up on GitHub, so if you're curious about looking at any of the pieces and how they function, by all means, feel free to access the code online, experiment with the API, and really try to get the best value, the best bang for buck that you can out of this gadget library. So some of the gadgets that we're including by default with Uptime, we have simply loading a URL from another application. So if you wanted to, for example, incorporate displays from your CMDB or your trouble ticket system within the Uptime interface, you could easily port that into any one of these gadget locations. We have an element panel, which gives you more detailed information about specific servers that you may be responsible for, really allowing you to craft a very direct kind of favorites list of key servers in your environment. A few different charting options, so you can display aggregate availability across all of the different service monitors, applications, or servers in your environment. The incident panel, which I'll come back to in a moment, it basically works as a nice functional to-do list of all the ongoing incidents in your environment. Then we have our pin-on image, which is better known as the world map dashboard, and our topology tree. So I'm actually going to cancel out of this and come back to my custom example and talk a little bit about the topology tree that's available here as well as the incident panel. So this topology tree is very interesting. It allows you to view your complete uptime topology dynamically and also the status of those parent topologies. So we can see in this example, we are a pure VMware environment in this example. So we have a virtual center. Depending on that virtual center are all the individual ESX hosts attached to that virtual center. We can see a few of them have been marked as deleted or put into maintenance. And then I can drill down further to see all the individual VMs and their active status as hosted on that system. This is a great root cause tool. So if you do have a topology failure in your environment, it becomes immediately visually evident where the highest order piece or failing component is in your environment. And from this view, you can drill directly into any failures, triage them, and recover your services. This view is again, easily customizable if I wanted to filter this down just to specific components of my overall topology, focus on certain key applications or key areas. I could simply just filter out the topological parents that I'm interested in and build a series of different views. Right? Again, the theme here is just being able to customize these views, build out exactly what you're looking for in your custom dashboard. Now we can talk a little bit about the incident panel. So the incident panel is a fantastic tool for teams to use as a functional to-do list or hot issues list in their environment. So of course in a perfect IT environment, which I know all of yours are, there are never any outages. So everything here would just basically be empty. But in our environment, a test environment, everything's failing all the time. But what this allows me to do is quickly see all of the active failures ordered by priority, and then drill into any one of those from this view. Now I can edit this view to actually focus on whether I want to view element status or monitor status, or filter down to specific groups or applications and set the refresh interval. So you can create your own again, customized views of just the service monitors that you or your team are most interested in. Now I'm going to hop over to another example and talk a little bit about our map dashboard. So the map dashboard, which is actually the pin-on image dashboard, was released with Uptime 7.1 and was received very well and became very popular. So what we've decided to do in Uptime 7.2 is bundle this out of the box. So what this allows you to do is basically pick any background image. The most common image, of course, is a map or regional map, and allows you to pin the status of either applications, elements, whole groups onto this view and see the active status of those. So in this example, we have a view of the United States. We have 4 different data centers in the United States. Each of these dots is representing the high-level status of these. And from here, I can actually drill into any one of these views and get down to more detail on what is actually failing. Now, something that's very interesting that we've added to this dashboard option in Uptime 7.2 is actually the ability to control where your drill down will flow. So when I click on any one of these individual indicators, so for example, a network device group, if I were to click on any one of these indicators, and I can actually define where I want to go and what view I want to get to when I click that. So let me give you a functional example of where this can be valuable. So I have another pin-on image map dashboard that is actually a global view, right? So perhaps you're an international, multinational organization. You have data centers spread across the world. As long as you're able to monitor the entire data center and provide a concept of its health, maybe these are IT service statuses or key applications, you can drag that status onto the map and view that in a live fashion. So in this case, I simply have outlined that I have a data center in Europe and a number of data centers in North America. And I can see pretty clearly that there are some problems in the United States. I've configured it so that if I click on North America, I actually drill down to that North American United States view that I was showing a moment ago. From here, I can further drill down into a view that is actually more specific to the region. So we have an East Coast view highlighting a critical server issue in this environment. You can see I have some other gadgets that are focusing on just the status in this region of my monitoring environment. And if I decide to click on the specific server that I was having outages, I'd be drilled down to the actual server element that is having the issue. So in 3 clicks, I've gone from a world map down to a regional map, down to a sub-region or a far more localized map, and right down to the root cause of any problem. So the flexibility in the pin-on-image dashboard and the ability to put in whatever visualization of your status you like really gives it a lot of power. So now I'm going to talk a little bit more generally about some of the other just interactivity enhancements that we made in the dashboard. Some of you may have noticed that I've arrived on the view for an individual server in Uptime, and you may have noticed that this page has seen a number of updates. So first of all of the graphs of key information about this element, so the CPU usage, wait and ready time, memory, they're all animated. In addition to that, they're all fully interactive at this point. So if I hover over any of these values, I can get more info without having to drill into a specific graph. I can just quickly hover over and see sample by sample what was going on at that point in time. If I wanted to, I could actually expand this out and take a closer look at the metric that's of interest. Maybe I want to drill into a specific problem area. If I want to quickly turn off a series, I can do all of this from this interface without having to get into the more detailed analysis and graphing options that are available on the left. I can also export this view if I wanted to into a number of different formats. So if I noticed that there was a problem that needed investigation, I wanted to get a colleague on my team to go investigate the issue, I could actually, in just one click, export this graph to an image, drop it into an email, contact my colleague, and get them to go look at the problem. Now if I jump back up to the dashboards, we can talk about some of the other enhancements. So the global scan I mentioned already, obviously some visual enhancements. The graphs have been updated to this more interactive format where I can see more detail on the outages that have happened hour by hour over the last day. I can see more detail on all the individual service checks in the environment. Also, the groups and views and elements areas that have always been in Uptime, you can now actively sort these. So a great example would be if you do have 50 or more top-level folders, sometimes you may find that you don't get all the right information in the top half of your screen. By sorting based on the criticality and warning levels, so basically sorting all of the outages to the top, you can make sure that if this is displayed in your NOC environment, that any folders with active outages will be at that top level and will be visible to you without having to actually scroll down on the page. Something else that helps in that NOC type environment is that all of the Uptime dashboards can now actually be made full screen, so you don't need to worry about having the Uptime header visible and taking up precious real estate on your big screen displays. Any and all of the dashboards, as well as any of the individual gadgets, can be put into a full screen mode to ease that heads-up display view. Now, all of the dashboards have also seen in the back end substantial performance improvements, specifically around all elements and all services. These pages have been made to handle lists of monitors, well above the 10 and 20,000 mark. They come up nearly instantly. And we've also added some options here where it's much easier to sort through the lists as well as filter the list down. So if I wanted to specifically look for any monitors that were in maintenance, I could very quickly in one drop-down just select that. So you'll notice this across all of the Uptime dashboards is that they've all had interactivity options added to make it easier for you to filter through the views, sort through a lot of information, and quickly get down to the issues that you're most worried about. Now I'm going to hop back into my presentation for a moment. The next thing I want to talk about is how Uptime helps you improve your IT service delivery. So service monitoring is something that Uptime has always done across all of your servers, network devices, applications, virtualization, physical environments. All right. what that actually results in the end of the day is the ability to actually make your overall IT service delivery more effectively or more effective. So not just being able to monitor your individual servers and make sure they're available, but actually look at how they're performing over time. Being able to monitor key things like your mean time to repair, your mean time between failures, graph that over time, and actually prove to your IT team and prove back to the business that you're improving on your delivery of your services over time. In Uptime 7.2, we've added 2 new reports that help augment that story, right? They help make it easier to get up and running in the initial stages of your IT service delivery. So they are the 2 new reports are called the Server Uptime Report and the Resource Hotspot Report. So let's talk for a moment about the Resource Hotspot Report. So many of you may be comfortable with the Resource Usage Report in Uptime. It's a fantastic report for long-term capacity planning as well as performance auditing. It's a report that basically gives you right down to the minute every single metric from every system that you're interested in, be it your CPU, your memory, network, disk I/O, file system capacity, all of that is presented. The Resource Hotspot Report is more focused on the day-to-day administrator. And really what it's focused on is providing a summarized list of hotspots in the environment that I need to go and look at right now. So on a daily basis, this report could be sent out to every system administrator, every network administrator, looking at their little slice of the environment and showing any servers that are over a certain threshold. So for example, look across 1,000 physical servers in the environment. Tell me which ones have high CPU usage that I need to go worry about. Tell me which ones are showing swapping, right? It has a configurable set of thresholds that allow you to pinpoint any servers that may be having capacity problems now that will in the end result in service outages on your target systems. So it's a great day-to-day operational report to tell users, today I need to go and work on these issues, right? These are the areas where there are capacity hotspots, capacity issues. Let's get those resolved. Let's understand where our next failure point is by use of the top 5 lists for total consumers on CPU, memory, swap, and disk busy. Let's resolve those so that we don't actually have any service outages in the future. The next report is a Server Uptime Report, and the best way to think about this report is, of course, it is exactly what it is. It is an uptime report, but we like to think of it as really SLA 1.0. So Uptime has had SLA monitoring and management for a number of years now. We were one of the first tools to market with that type of reporting capabilities. But we find that a lot of users are really very early in their overall monitoring implementation, and they're still fighting fires, right? They're still focused on SLAs being an infrastructure level, simple server uptime aspect. They need to deliver 5 nines or 3 nines, whatever it may be, but they don't really understand what that actually means, and they lack the ability to accurately report on the infrastructure availability and show that back to management and understand where they're at. Well, the Server Uptime Report resolves that issue. It allows you to view across all of your individual elements at the physical infrastructure element level. What is the availability of these servers over a certain time range, be it hours or days, weeks or months? And then let's break that down into aggregates. So maybe we want to know hourly, what was the availability, or weekly or daily. It's a great way to slice and dice your availability, provide a nice summarized view to management, but at the same time highlight individual servers that may be having problems. So we can see in the lower half of the report, it actually groups out individual servers showing their target availability, as well as highlighting, worst case at the top. These are the servers that I need to go worry about right now to help bring that overall uptime number closer to my target. Instead of having all these green or having this red bar at the top, what do we need to do to bring that red bar into the green level and get above that availability target? So again, it's more of a day-to-day focus. What do we need to focus on right now from a problem server point of view to improve our overall uptime and report back to management that we're actually delivering what they expect from us. Now, the Server Uptime Report I mentioned is really SLA 1.0. This report is just a part of a broader reporting set in Uptime to talk about your IT service delivery. So including the SLA reports, there's also a number of availability reports at the application level, the individual service level, that will help you highlight and identify where problems are in your environment. One of those reports that's incredibly valuable is actually the incident priority report. And this report is a nice kind of high-level view that allows you to see across all of your either your applications, your IT services, your individual servers, which ones are causing the most problem. So the incident priority quadrant, which is a piece of that report, will actually highlight and break down hundreds or thousands of different outages and show you the trends. Show me which is the worst of the worst. So simply this quadrant graphs the number of incidents versus the total downtime. So of course, as you have services that are in the upper right, these are things that have been failing a high number of times, and when they go down for a very long time. Obviously, those are the things you want to focus on first. There's a great report to run weekly or monthly and actually watch as you've highlighted these critical services that are having problems. You've taken steps to actually improve their availability. You've maybe utilized uptime self-healing and escalation rules to help manage and triage issues more effectively. Have problems automatically resolved by uptime versus even depending on an administrator going off and doing those. What you're looking to see is that over time, these key services move from the upper right quadrant down towards the lower left, where we have individual services that have failed a low number of times with a low total downtime number. And at the end of the day, ideally you want to see all of your critical IT services just not appear on this quadrant at all. So it's a fantastic tool to help you prioritize what to look at first. It's a great tool to go back to management and show them how you're improving this delivery over time. And it's one of the steps along the way to actually getting to a proper SLA, because you can't get to the state of true SLAs without understanding what you as an IT organization can reasonably deliver. Right? If you're ready to sign the contract and commit to 5 nines availability, you better know that you can actually deliver that. So these service availability improvement reports will help you get towards that, will help you plan ahead so that you can effectively implement SLAs. So this has been a quick overview of what's new in Uptime 7.2. So we talked a little bit about the custom dashboards that are coming. We talked about IT service delivery, and of course we have the ease of use improvements. So what I'm going to do now is quickly move over to our Q&A.